All right, here we go. Let's knock out the odds real quick. All right, let's see how you're doing. Again, let me just go ahead. I feel like this is just a continuation of yesterday. So if you didn't have trouble with last night's homework, this should have been just extra practice for you. All right, which is important. So here we go. All right, today we have 2/3 minus 5/6. Now notice I like to write vertical. All right, it's much easier to see. All right, much easier to see. Okay, so my feeling is you should try to do that. All right, if you have to write the other way, I'm okay as long as you get the right answer. All right, but I still want you to show me your work. All right, so when you add these or subtract them, you need a common denominator. So we're going to get 4, 6 minus 5, 6. All right, now double check your work. All right, and see if you got -1/6. Now, if you didn't get -1/6, make yourself a note. Don't just change it. Try to figure out where you made your mistake. If you forgot the negative, don't forget. Say, hey, just don't forget the negative. Make yourself a note. All right, make yourself a note. All right, number 3, here we go. Now, are we adding or subtracting these? Rivers.
Adding.
We are definitely adding because they're both negative. All right, so again, -3/4 minus 7/10. Common denominator is 20. So this becomes -15/20. 20 down here, which becomes -14/20. Everybody okay with that? And then they're both negative, so we add them. You should be able to tell me that's -29/20. Yes? So look, anytime you got something different, anytime you get something different, my advice to you is to look and see where we're different. And then you tell me, how did you get that or how did you get that? Right? Isn't 3/4? We multiplied this by 5, and that became -15/20, correct? And then I multiplied the bottom by 2. And that became -14/20. We already said because they are both negative, we add them together, right? What's the matter? The subtraction actually means exactly the same. Right? I tried to show you this the other day when I said -3, right? You can say, tell me that's -3, right? You hear me? Now, what if I do this? Now it's 5 minus 3. Right? This symbol, listen to me now so I can really help you. Again, this symbol is subtraction. It's also negative. You with me? So this 3/4, I want you to be able to tell me is negative. This 7/10 is what? Negative. Because they're both negative, we add them together. Right? All right, this is why I'm glad he's asking, so I can clear it up for you. There's no reason to make mistake after mistake after mistake. That's why this is important. We're doing a second day. All right? And then tomorrow, everything's mixed up. Adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. All right? Anybody have any questions? All right? I don't want to go on if you don't see your mistake. Lily, did you find your mistake? Okay. Good job. Here we go. Let's check out number 5. All right? Now, we just have 3 fractions. So you're looking at this saying the common denominator is 20. So I'm going to rewrite it this way. -1/5 minus 3/4 plus 7/10. Now the common denominator is 20. So this becomes -4/20. This becomes -15/20. And this becomes 14/20. Anybody have a problem with that? All right, now I'm looking here and saying I have -4 and -15, which makes -19. And then -19 plus 14 makes negative 5. Right? So everybody should be able to look at that and say that's just negative 5 over 20. All right? And negative 5 over 20 reduces to what? Negative 1/4. All right? Negative 1/4. Everybody okay with that? Oscar, every once in a while, just double check your work. Look up and double check. All right, you get that? How do you know? You see it? Okay. Thank you, Oscar. Just checking with you, okay? All right, now I need everybody's attention on number 7. Look up. This on number 7 should be mental math to you. I want everybody to look up because a lot of kids had trouble with this last class, and I just am mystified by this. Look up. Look up. I want everybody to say 7 minus 2/3. You should just be able to look at that and say 7 minus 2/3 is what, Rivers?
6 1/3.
6 1/3. There should be no thought to that. Should be no thought. Think of it like this. You have 7 sandwiches sitting on your desk. You eat 2/3 of one. If you eat 2/3 of one, how much is left of that one that you ate? 1/3. So now there's still 6 wholes and 1/3 left. This is what I'm trying to show you. Sit down correctly. Hey, I need you to listen. If you're not sure, you got to speak up. That should be common sense. If it's not common sense, you're not understanding numbers very well. And I want to show you what I mean. What?
Why is it 5/3? 7 minus 2 is 5.
Because it doesn't have a common denominator. That's why. Don't tell me but. Listen to my ex. What?
Isn't it always 7 over 1?
Do you want me to just say no? If your answer is different than mine, guess what? Guess what? Let me explain it. Think about it like this, honestly, and I'm really, William, I want it to make sense to you. I don't want you upset. I want you to listen. I have what? 7 subs. Picture these 7 huge subs sitting in front of you. There's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 subs in front of you. You come along and you say, wow, I'm pretty hungry. I'm going to eat 2/3 of this one. How much is left of this sub? How much is left? Shh. How many thirds are there?
Oh,
1. 1/3. That's what I'm saying. Come on and concentrate with me. You're in your head. You think you know what you're doing, and you're ignoring me because you think you're right. I'm saying, listen to me. I can persuade you that what I'm saying is correct. Do you hear what I'm saying now, right? So you understand what I'm saying? There's 7 big subs, and you come along and eat 2/3 of one. That means how much is left on this one sub? 1/3. And how many whole subs do you see? That's why the answer is 6 1/3. All right, what?
You could also turn the 7 into 6 3/3.
Yes, for those of you guys who learned it, a long time ago, you had to go, your teacher made you say 7 minus 2/3. Take out the 7, make it a 6, add a 1, change the 1, 3/3. 3/3 minus 2/3. 1/3. 6 minus 0, 6. Boring. Boring. That is boring. You need to know, you need to look at that and say, what is 7 minus 2/3? 6 1/3. Now, look up and see if you've learned something today. Come on, see if you've learned something. You ready, William?
Yeah.
All right, what if I said this? What if I said 8 minus 3/7? Shh, go ahead.
It would be 8 4/7.
Close. Let him think.
Oh, 7 4/7.
Yeah, now you're listening. That's what I'm telling you. If you would listen to me more, I could make you brilliant. Seriously. All right, but you got to listen to my explanations. Don't think you're right. All right? Listen to me. I'll send you on the right track. All right, I promise. All right, everybody should know that. All right, now let's go. Number 9. Just like number 9 is common sense. Common sense. Look up. If you did math on that, you don't understand numbers. If you did math on that, you don't understand numbers. Everybody should be able to look at that and just say what, Lily?
4 and 4 9.
No. What?
negative.
What?
No, negative 5 and 5 thirds.
That's it. Negative 5 and 5/9. All right. Now let me try to explain why that should be obvious to everybody. Negative 5 and 5/9. All right. If I said this to you guys, look up. If I said 3 and 2/3, that literally just means 3 plus 2/3. Everybody understand that? Shh, listen. The only time in which an operation is not seen and it's something other than multiplication is in this mixed fraction. 3 and 2/3 means 3 plus 2/3. Is everybody hearing me? So if I say negative 5 and 5/9, or negative 5 and negative 5/9 together, that's just negative 5 and 5/9. Does that make sense? Who's not sure? Who needs me to explain it? What?
I don't want because you have 5 whole subs.
No, you don't have 5. You have negative 5 whole subs. You have negative 5 subs. What if I said you had negative 5 and negative 3? What would you do? Shh.
Negative 5.
Negative 5 and negative 3 would be what?
Negative.
That's the same concept. You're just adding them together. Negative 5 and negative 5/9 is negative 5 and 5/9. Weber, am I making sense? That's okay. You ready for another example? What if I said this? If I said 3 plus 1/2, what's that? Shh, don't tell him. That's exactly right. It's 3 and 1/2. What's 5 plus 7/8? What is negative 3 and negative 1/2? That's all I'm telling you. What's negative 5 and negative 7/8? That's all I'm telling you. You would be on that now, right? All right, good job. Way to stay with it. All right? It doesn't make sense. I'm trying to help you make sense out of math and out of numbers. Or it doesn't do any good just to memorize the process here. You got to be smarter than the process. All right, here we go. Let's continue on. All right, now here's a trick. Not really a trick, but here's something I need you to do. Are we adding or subtracting these fractions? Subtracting. Always put the largest whole number first. Always put the largest whole number first. So this becomes negative 5 and 7/8 plus 3 and 5/6. Please do me that favor. Learn to write it with the largest whole number first. Then you can tell whether or not you have to borrow. If you don't do that, all right, it's harder to tell. All right? Now, the common denominator with 8 and 6 is what? 24. Thank you. So, negative 5 and 21 over 24 plus 3 and 20 over 24. Since I'm subtracting, do I have to borrow here? No, I don't have to borrow because I'm doing what? 21 minus 20. Now, how do I know I'm subtracting? Because I have a positive and a what?
Negative.
When you have a positive and a negative, we do what? Subtract. All right? So now I end up with 1 over 24. And then 5 minus 3 is 2. But now I double check, so I know the answer had to be what? Negative. All right? Now listen, that was a tricky one, so if you're not sure, speak up. What?
I understand, like, that's the same answer I got, but how do you know that it's not negative 2 and 1 over 24? Isn't it negative 2 and negative 1 over 24?
Yes, it is actually.
But then how do you know that? Like,
Because listen, you understand numbers. That's a very, very good question. Very good question.
that's the same answer
You're
I got,
100%
but,
correct.
like,
Hey, listen to what he said, guys. Something smart. This is the same as negative 124. That's exactly correct. It can't be positive because then when you have to subtract those.
Yeah, that's what I wrote.
Yep, exactly. All right. Come on, super important. Keep it going, guys. Pay attention.
You're recording.
13. Yes. 13. Do I add or subtract?
Subtract.
Subtract. So here we go. Largest whole number, 7 and 1/6 minus 2 and 5/6. All right, guys. Can I do 1 minus 6?
No.
So I must?
You must borrow.
Must borrow. So I'm changing the 7 to a what? 6. And then what do I do with the 1 and the 6?
Plus
Add them together. All right. So this 1 crosses out and becomes a what? 7. Come on, guys. Now we can subtract. 6 minus 2 is 4. 7 minus 5 is 2, which reduces to 4 and 1/3. Good job. 4 and 1/3. 4 and 1/3. Come on. Pay attention. What, William?
I got.
Listen, William.
What
Once.
I did is I had 7 minus 2 was 5. Then 1 minus 5 is -4.
What am I supposed to do with that, William? What you're supposed to do is stop telling me what you got, look up on the board, and show yourself where you're different and change what you did into what I did. That's what you're supposed to be doing. I'm not going to change my work to follow your work. It's not going to happen. You look up there and say, hey, why is this different? That's what I want from you.
I thought you multiplied 6, whatever, 6 and 1.
Add them. Because I'm doing this, let me show you why you add. I'm saying 1 plus 1/6, which is 7/6, right? Because if I had to, 1 would be the same as 6/6. That's why you do that.
Oh.
It's
okay.
always the same.
Okay.
And a shortcut is to add the numerator and denominator. William, did you figure out your mistake?
No.
Okay. So did you borrow?
Oh.
Well, you should have borrowed. All right, you can't go 1 minus 5. You had to borrow. All right, let's check out 15, please. Do I add these or do I subtract them? Add them. So here we go. Negative 13 and 3/4 minus 5 and 1/8. Common denominator. So that's going to be negative 13. Boys in the back, you guys are distracting me. All right. I don't know why you're come on. And this would be minus 5 and 1/8. All right. You already told me I'm supposed to do what? Add them, right? That's what you told me, William. Add them. All right. So now 7/8, negative 18 and 7/8. How's that? All right. Let's check out the next one. Do I add them or do I subtract them? You're adding them. All right. Negative 6 and 5/9 minus 9 and 1/6. Notice when I add them, I don't care what number goes on the top. All right, because it doesn't matter. All right, the common denominator is 18. So this is going to be negative 6, 10/18 minus 9, and 3/18, which gives me a total of negative 15, thank you, and 13/18. Everybody okay with that? Tell me.
So, oh wait, wrong column, I'm sorry.
That's it. Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I'm glad you're with me. All right? It's perfectly fine. All right, let's check out 19, guys. Adding or subtracting? Subtracting. So I must put the largest whole number up top. The largest whole number is 6 and 3/4 negative plus 1 and 7/10. So now I got to figure out if I have to borrow because I am subtracting. All right. So here we go. This becomes negative 6 and 15/20 plus 1 and 14/20. What's the matter, William? Come on, William. Don't be upset, man. Get in the game. That's what I'm saying, buddy. Come on, don't ever give up. How did I get what? Please tell me.
Oh, wait, no, I forgot to add those up.
There you go. There you go. That's how you do it. You look up on the board and you fix your mistake, because that's right on the board. I guarantee it. Final answer. Negative 5 and 1/20. Is everybody okay with that? Feels good, doesn't it? Really good. Just be careful, please. All right, let's check out 21 now. All right, another good problem here. Am I adding or subtracting? Subtracting. What number goes on top? The largest whole number. So we're going to put negative 7 and 5/6 plus 3 and 11 over 15. All right? Common denominator is 30. So this is going to be negative 7 and 25 over 30 plus 3 and 22 over 30. Subtracting. I have 3 over 30 and negative 4 and 3/30. And then we reduce that to negative 4 and 1/10. Oscar, you checking your work, please? Number 21. Should be checking it. Get it right? All right, 23. Do I add or subtract? Subtract. Negative 11 and 5/9 plus 6 and 2/5. Common denominator. Good. Negative 11, 25 over 45 plus 6, 18 over 45. So when I subtract, what do I get?
You get 17.
7, you mean?
Oh, 7.
Negative 5 and 7 over 45. Does that reduce?
Yeah.
No, you're right. All right, let's keep going. 25. All right, another good one right here, guys. Adding or subtracting? Subtracting. So now 4 and 1/9 minus 3 and 7/9. Now do I have to borrow? Yes, very good. All right, now let's see if you learned something. Cross out the 4 and make it a what? 3. Cross out the 1 and make it a 10, right? 9 plus 1, 10. 10 minus 7, 3/9, which reduces to 1/3. What?
I don't understand the borrowing process. I'm not sure.
Do you know you have to borrow on this one or not?
Because you have to subtract.
Right. 4 and 1/9 minus 3 and 7/9. Can I go 1 minus 7?
That would be
No, you cannot. That is correct. You cannot borrow. I mean, you cannot subtract 1 minus 7 in this case. So you borrow from the 4, make it a 3, then you add the 9 and the 1. There you go. All right? I know some people say, well, we used to do negatives, but you have to remember the problem with that is this is a positive, this is a positive.
So I always borrow if it's.
That's right. If you can't subtract, you put the largest whole number on top. That's what I was trying to tell somebody. If it's really simple, if you learn that technique,
Okay.
always put the whole number, the largest whole number on top.
Alright, I get it.
All right, good. Here we go. On 27, do we add or subtract? Add. So here we go. Negative 9 and 1/4 minus 2 and 1/9. Common denominator.
36.
So that'd be negative 9 and 9 over 36 minus 2 and 4 over 36. Negative 11 and 13 over 36. Feels good. All right, all these fractions should be pretty simple now. All right, and you're supposed to make mistakes, and then you correct them, and then you don't make the mistakes anymore. All right, here we go. Number 29. All right, are we adding or subtracting? So we put the largest whole number, negative 13 and 7/8 plus 9 and 3/8. Negative 4 and 4/8, which reduces to negative 4 and 1/2. All right. You should know if you're getting better. You should know if you know what's going on. All right. Now, please go through and do the what? Evens. I'm going to do the evens with the other class, then I'll post it so you can check your work tonight. All right. Then I'll have another mixed review tomorrow with all multiplying, dividing, and adding and subtracting. All right. Any questions? What time do we get out?
Oh, it's 25 and we get out 27.
All right. So you got 2 minutes. All right. Get some work done.
Finished.
Were any of them correct?